Welcome back. I've been sent this video and asked for my thoughts in regards to this gentleman speaking about how he believes Ben Roberts-Smith was set up. So let's have a look.
I think Ben Roberts-Smith was set up, and this is how they did it. To prove the war crime of murder under Section 268 of the Criminal Code, you have to prove that someone is a non-combatant, an innocent person in the field. Now, there used to be a list of criteria that had to be met. Every single criteria had to be met to prove that that person was a non-combatant. Therefore, the person that killed them could be held accountable for murder.
I wonder what the list of criteria is, or maybe he's going to talk about it.
What happened in 2024, the Albanese government changed it to not all those criteria, but just one. So they changed.
The bloody Albanese government. We've changed our position. Well, we've changed our position. I've seen all those videos online. Changed his position on capital gains tax, changed his position on everything by the sounds of things. Anyway, again, I'd be interested to know what all the criteria is. But apparently, Albo in his wisdom, in his government, his blinking rodents have changed the legislation or the criteria. So those criteria, but just one. So they changed it just to one element of this non-combatant list of things, whatever that list was.
Changed it just to one element of this non-combatant list when they were investigating Ben Roberts-Smith for shooting, allegedly, a non-combatant. So that was the step one. Step two, they made it retrospective. So this law changed in 2024, but they changed it back so it was retrospective from 2002. So Ben Roberts-Smith was applicable within that.
Wow. Made it retrospective. So you make a law change in 2024, but that's not enough. That's not good enough. You go, hang on, we've changed it in 2024, however long after it was initially introduced, and then you get together with your band of bloody rodents and go, yeah, let's take that all the way back to 2002. Well, that's definitely going to have RS and his team with the allegations fall within that time frame, isn't it? Because he wasn't in the regiment in 2002. Oh man, this is mad.
That time frame. Now, these laws affect the war crime of murder. They don't affect the war crimes that are applied to the Isis brides, but they do for Ben Roberts-Smith. Go figure.
Okay, that's it. It's a good brief video, but that sounds like a crock of shit, if I'm being honest. How that's come up in the first place? Who's lobbied for that decision to be made? Who are the group of people? Who's the bloody peanut gallery that got together and thought, yeah, that's a good idea? Clearly, they were able to convince Albanese, who doesn't know his bumhole from his elbow. This is crazy. You make quite a significant change. Again, I'd love to know what the list is under I think he said the Criminal Code Act. I thought maybe he would mention when he mentioned there's a list of criteria to identify somebody that is a detainee, and that all of that criteria had to be met. But then it got changed in 2024. Why, I don't know, whereby you only needed to meet one criteria from what this guy, David Craig, is saying. And then it's been made retrospective as well and shifted all the way back so that it comes into effect as of 2002. I get it, doing stuff retrospectively isn't always a bad thing and isn't and is a common practice. You get lots of things that can be done retrospective. Back pay might be an example of things in terms of monies owed to people for work that they've done. This may be one of those things, but it just seems very suspect in terms of how this has come about, and to me, the timing of it. Like, clearly there seems like there's been limited progress that the Office of the Special Investigator, after more than a decade of investigating, has been able to come up with. So it seems like them and their cronies have gotten together and had a look at the legislation, identified, you know what, we're not going to be able to prove this, not with all this criteria. Let's go give Lincoln Albo a tap on the shoulder and his cronies and have the law changed. And then let's have it backdated as well, retrospective, so that it can be enforced. It's mad. If people, regardless of where you're from and regardless of which side of the fence you sit on, if you can't sit where you are and listen to this guy, David Craig, AFP. I think I saw something on his page. Former AFP detective superintendent, Bali bombings commander, TV commentator, keynote speaker, national security and counterterrorism. So regardless of where you sit, if people, or which camp you're in terms of supporting RS or not supporting RS, if people can't sit and listen to and watch with some sort of flexibility or an open mind to people like this guy, even other people that you might not like, and hear and see what seems to be like deception, corruption, pushing a one-sided narrative towards Ben Roberts-Smith, then there's something wrong with the individuals, in my opinion. Like from hush money to those recorded conversations whereby apparent breach of ethics by people like Nick McKenzie, to the changing of legislation or law and criteria, then retrospectively moving that back, to the length of time, more than a decade, that it's taken to only come to the conclusion that now they've got 2 charges. Yeah, there may be more. We don't know. What we do know is that there's hundreds of millions being spent on that. He added in there ISIS brides at the end. I think I shared my thoughts and opinions on that based on what I'd heard somebody else say, and I believe it might have been Dean Burgess or it may have been somebody else. But there's no such thing as ISIS brides. There's just ISIS. So, there's thoughts on that. These things don't apply to these women that felt it necessary to go marry into a terrorist group and have children with them, then be sad when their husbands have been killed, I assume, and then have a sook and want to go back to Australia. This is crazy. So disappointing. If the Albanese government thinks that the people in Australia and other parts of the world can't see through just the crap that they're doing, man, they're either blind, deaf and dumb, or they just are that confident that they believe people will yip-yar and say this and say that, all these things will come up, but nothing will change. Much like those Senate hearings, which seem to be a bit of a waste of time. I don't know what happens after those Senate hearings and who gets held accountable. Clearly, nobody goes to prison because you don't hear anything about it in the news. And then it just seems like, well, we've had our dog and pony show. We've asked the questions in and around all these redacted documents of other bits and pieces that get sent in. These are on other subjects, obviously. But nothing happens. It's like they've done it anyway, and then it's like just spitting in your face for good measure. You call your Senate hearing, yeah, I'll sit here front up. Yeah, I don't have the answers. I don't have that at this time. I'll take it on notice. They'll make up and talk around and make some sort of BS comment. I've already answered that question, and our position is that there may be changes at some point in the future, but we don't anticipate those changes in regards to tax to be to the levels that you're mentioning here. So a general broad brush 30% tax on everything. These people that are making these decisions that are fronting Senate hearings can't answer them. It'd be interesting to see if there was ever a Senate hearing, which there probably won't be, in regards to the people that have been chasing RS and just pointing the finger at him. The decisions made around the immunity given to people apparently for their testimony against RS. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgraceful in terms of what's happening. That's my take and thought on it anyway. Until the next video, we'll see you on the next one.